Hi everyone, and welcome to my first Pokemon Challenge video. Today we find out if I can complete Pokemon Crystal with only a Shuckle. Shuckle is one of my favourite Pokemon from Generation 2, so I'm looking forward to giving this a try. I'm confident that I'll be able to get to Red, but due to the high level and types of his Pokemon, I may struggle to win even at level 100. Due to my limited move pool, the beginning of the game will be quite grindy until we have access to Rollout. I have an idea for a strategy that I'm hoping will work, but it won't be in full effect until we resell it on City and get access to leftovers, which will greatly increase my longevity, allowing me to not have to rely as heavily on rest. Let's go over the rules. In combat, I'm only allowed to use Shuckle. I'll need other Pokemon for HMs, but I can't use them in battle. No items in battle, only held items and Pokeballs. No glitches or exploits. Leave a comment below if you think that I can win. Using the Universal Randomizer, I replace Cyndaquil with Shuckle, which I nicknamed Chuckle. This means that my rival will choose Totodile for added difficulty. From here I leave Newbark Town and run into our first wild Pokemon, a level 2 Rattata. And as you can see from the battle, this run is going to be a grind right from the start. I make my way to meet Professor Oak and Mr. Pokemon, who give me a Pokedex and a Mystery Egg respectively. Then, I get a call from Professor Elm asking us to head back to the lab. There isn't too much to talk about in this fight. Wrap does help with racking up damage, making the fight go much faster than it would have otherwise. Totodile can't hurt us with only Scratch and Leer at this level, but if the rival had used more Leer, I may have been in trouble. From here we head back to the lab, speak to the officer and the professor to continue the story. We have a long way to go to reach Violet City, with a few trainers to battle on the way. Due to my typing, both Sprout Tower and the first gym will hit me for neutral damage, but due to my high defenses, we'll go with the gym first. It goes horribly. The Spearow from the first trainer completely destroys me. From here, we'll try Sprout Tower. It seems to go better due to Bellsprout having a lower attack stat than Spearow. Whilst making our way through the tower, Shuckle grows to level 14 and learns Encore. This won't be super helpful now, but it will definitely have use in later battles. Once I've beaten all the trainers in Sprout Tower, I try the gym again. It goes a little better, and I'm able to beat both the trainers, but now it's time for Faulkner. He has Mud Slap, which lowers my accuracy, making Wrap even harder to hit than it normally is. As expected, Pidgey goes straight for Mud Slap, meaning I miss way more often than I would like to. I make it to Pidgeotto, but my health is dire, and it isn't long until we lose the battle. Time to grind. I try again at level 18, and it goes a little better due to Wrap luck. Pidgeotto still walls us out. I try and see if I can raise my defense to only take 1 damage off Gust for future reference, but even when I get to +6, I still take 2 damage, so a withdrawal strategy isn't going to work at my current level. Back to grinding. At level 20, I try again. We're doing more damage this time, meaning I get to Pidgeotto with much more health, and due to the use of a berry, which lets me slowly whittle it down and earn our first gym badge and the TM for Mud Slap. Here, we start to make some progress, and we may easily make it to Azalea Town, where we need to speak to Kurt to clear out Team Rocket. The second trainer has a Zubat, which surprisingly gave me a hard time due to Leech Life healing the damage that I was doing with Constrict. We slowly whittle it down with Wrap, and after defeating all of the trainers and speaking to Kurt again, we're ready to take on the second gym. It's time for Bugsy. Metapod goes well, but Kakuna poisons us, which is game over at this level. I try again, this time holding a Poison Cure Berry, and it goes better, but Scyther goes for Fury Cutter, which makes quick work of me due to its power doubling every use. Let's try our rival instead. Mudslap makes quick work of Ghastly, but Croconaw has Water Gun, which hits us for massive damage. We lower its accuracy with Mudslap and eventually whittle it down, but our HP is low, and Zubat has Bite, which flinches us and eventually takes us out. His battle is more promising, and I think that we can win with some better luck. I grind to level 28 and I learn Bide. Whilst I was grinding, the Mystery Egg hatched into Togepi, who reminds you to subscribe and hit the bell for more. Time to try Bugsy one more time. Even with Bide, this battle still isn't easy. Metapod goes down with a combination of Wrap and Constrict, and then comes in Kakuna. If he poisons me twice, I have to reset. I use Mud Slap to lower the accuracy, but he still poisons me. But thanks to a Poison Cure Berry, I'm able to cure it. Now it's time for Scyther, and I immediately go for Bide and he hits me for big damage with consecutive Fury Cutters, but I unleash my energy and we've finally beaten Bugsy. Now it's time for our rival. He leads with Ghastly and I misclick Constrict, giving a free lick, but then I proceed to Mud Slap it down, eating a Paralyzed Cure Berry to remove the paralysis from lick. Out comes Croconaw and I use Wrap for residual damage, then Mud Slap to lower its accuracy. The Croconaw still has Water Gun, which still deals good damage, but for some reason the AI decides to go for Rage. Last is Zubat, which has Supersonic and Bite, which can cause flinches. This goes on for a while, but we finally whittle it down and we get the win. We can finally make some progress. We make it to Goldenrod, battling every trainer that we can because we'll need the experience. Once there, I head north to collect the TM for Rollout and we immediately replace Constrict for it. This will be our primary attacking move for the majority of the game. It's time to try Whitney. She leads with Clefairy and we go for Rollout, allowing us to build power with each successive hit. 2 rollouts take it out. Then comes in Miltank, which takes our 4th rollout for an Oko. I can't believe we actually won this first try. I thought that I'd be here for a while. We head north to Equitex City and into the Burn Tower, where we once again need to fight our rival. He leads with Haunter and we go for Rollout. 3 rollouts are enough to take it down, and luckily we don't get paralyzed. Second is Croconaw, but because we've built so much power with Rollout, it goes down in 1 hit. The same for Magnemite, But now our rollouts are over. Zubat is still annoying due to Confuse Ray and potential flinches from Bite, but we hit 2 rollouts to take the victory. Now it's time to challenge Morty. First up is Ghastly, who leads with Curse, so I'll have to end the battle quickly. I lead with rollout and 2 is enough to get the KO. Morty sends out his first Haunter and goes for Nightshade, bringing me very low. But rollout is enough to KO, and next up is Gengar, which goes for Mean Look, which is perfect. I KO it with rollout. Last is Haunter, who also uses Mean Look, allowing me to hit my final rollout for the KO. I decide to head to Blackthorn City before Olivine. That way we're at a higher level for both the fighting and steel type gyms, who will hit us for super effective damage. I like our chances better against the ice type trainers in Price's gym. On our way, we get to level 37 and replace Bide with Rest. This should help us with some longevity. We head north to Lake of Rage and clear out Team Rocket's hideout. Now it's time for Morty. First up is Swinub, and rollout's enough to take it out. Next is Piloswine, which we slowly whittle down with rollout, and last is Dugong, which takes our 5th rollout for an Oko, giving us the Glacier Badge. Now we head to Olivine, and up the lighthouse to meet Jasmine, who tells us to cross the sea to get some medicine. Upon arrival in Cienwood, we go to the north of the island and battle Eugene. His team goes down easily to rollout, and now it's time to face Chuck. Primeape goes for Rage, which is the best case scenario, and goes down to my rollouts. Next up is Poliwrath. I try to set up rollouts, but Poliwrath goes for Hypnosis, shutting that strategy down and then hitting me for big damage with Surf. I think that I can win with a bit better luck, so let's try again. This time goes better. I'm able to beat Primeape with 4 rollouts, allowing me to KO the Poliwrath with massive damage from my 5th rollout. With this, we earn the Storm Badge, allowing us to fly back to Olivine with the medicine for Amphi. Time for Jasmine. She leads with Magnemite and tries for Thunder Wave, which misses, and Mudslap is a 2-hit KO. Next is Steelix, which hits me for big damage with Iron Tail. I try to lower its accuracy with Mudslap and try to build rollouts, but I don't do near enough damage and it takes me out. I think with better luck, I can beat her. Let's try again. Magnemite goes down to 2 Mudslaps and Steelix is out. I get much better luck not getting hit. I use every one of my Mudslaps to lower its accuracy, then rest back to full health. Once I wake up, I go for Wrap for residual damage, then Rollout. Jasmine uses a Hyper Potion to drag the battle out, but Steelix is run out of Iron Tails, meaning that I don't have to rely on Rest as heavily. I build up my rollouts, eventually taking Steelix down, and then hitting the final Magnemite with the last few rollouts for a KO and the badge. Before we head to Blackthorn, we need to clear Team Rocket out of the radio tower. During this, we run into our rival again. He leads with Golbat, who confuses us, and we go for rollout. We quickly snap out of confusion, and my second rollout takes it out. Next is Feraligatr, which gets a critical water gun for good damage. Our third and fourth rollouts build enough power to take it down, and out comes Magnemite. Our rollout hits it for an easy one-shot. Next is Haunter, who uses Curse, so now we have to end the battle quickly. We go for rollout, which brings it low. Haunter then goes for Shadow Ball, which does a small amount of damage, and rollout is enough to get the KO. Last is Sneasel, who goes for Feint Attack, bringing us direly low, but rollout has built enough power for KO, getting us the win. Time for Blackthorn Gym. Before I challenge the gym, I do a little bit of grinding as the Dragonite's Dragon Rage was giving me some trouble from the early trainers. Let's see how we fare against Claire. She leads with a Dragonair and goes for Thunder Wave. We get fully paralyzed, and Surf hits us for reasonable damage. We hit a Mud Slap, lowering its accuracy. Goes for Surf, and we get fully paralyzed again. I go for Wrap, get hit by another critical Surf, bringing us down to around half. Dragonair critically surfs us again, and we go for Rest to remove the paralysis and heal. Once we wake up, we start building rollouts until we KO the Dragonair. Next is Kingdra, who also goes for Surf, bringing us to a quarter, and we miss our rollout. Kingdra hits another Surf, bringing us to 6 HP, and we go for Rest to heal. While asleep, Kingdra goes for Smokescreen, so our accuracy is down for the rest of the battle, but we wake up and miss a Mud Slap twice, then get hit by a Surf, taking us to 1 HP where we rest again. At this point, I should change my strategy, because I think once Kingdra runs out of Surf, we can safely build up our rollouts to get the KO. So once I wake, I finally hit a Mud Slap, and Kingdra brings us low once again with Surf. Once again, we rest for recovery. We miss another Mud Slap, and then we wake, and Kingdra starts to miss Surfs as we start chaining Mud Slaps. Kingdra is finally out of Surf, meaning it has to go for Dragon Breath. This is what we've been waiting for. We rest again, but now once we wake, we can start building rollouts. While I'm asleep, Kingdra hits another Smokescreen. We wake up and hit 2 rollouts. Kingdra hits a Smokescreen, making us miss our third rollout, and we exchange misses for a few turns until I decide to go for Wrap for residual damage and to preserve PP. Claire uses a Hyper Potion, so Kingdra's back at full HP. I miss rollout a few times, and Kingdra breaks free from Wrap and goes for Dragon Breath, taking us to about 3/4 of our health. We hit a rollout and build enough power to bring Kingdra to a sliver, but it hits us with another Smokescreen. I go for Wrap for a little damage, but the residual damage adds up and it takes it out. Now for the second Dragonair. It goes for Thunder Wave, paralyzing us once again as we try to hit a Mud Slap. Dragonair hits us with Thunderbolt for little damage for a few turns, bringing us to half before we can fight back due to our terrible accuracy. We get fully paralyzed and hit by a critical Thunderbolt, which brings us low, and we finally hit a Wrap. We go for Rest but get fully paralyzed. This is bad. We try for Rest again but get hit to 11 HP and paralyzed. One more Thunderbolt brings us to 4 HP, and luckily we get our rest off. Once we wake up, we hit a rollout for big damage, and our second brings it to a sliver, but we miss our third and get paralyzed again. We trade misses again, but then I hit a Wrap, taking it out. Time for the last Dragonair. This one has Ice Beam. I freeze here and the battle's over. I keep my paralysis for as long as I can, as I want her to use as many ice beams as possible before I wake up from rest. I hit wrap for residual damage, and then I try for rollout but miss. We get hit with ice beams, taking us to half our health, and we keep missing. A critical ice beam brings us low. 2 more ice beams and it's time to rest. My power points are getting low and I need to end this quick. I wake up and hit a rollout, bringing it low. 1 more will do, but we miss. Dragonair is out of ice beams now and paralyzes us with Thunder Wave. We go for rollout, we hit, but it isn't enough to take the Dragonair out. It misses its slam and we hit our final rollout for the win, which gets us the 8th gym badge. Now we have all 8 badges, it's time to head through Victory Road, but before we can get to the Elite Four, we have to face our rival one last time. He leads with Sneasel and goes for Screech, so our defense is down. We start building rollouts and 2 is enough to get the KO. Next is for Alligator, who still knows Water Gun. Our 3rd rollout hits for big damage and our 4th is enough to take it out. Out comes Magneton, who goes for Sonic Boom, a fixed damage move, but our rollout is max power and hits for a 1-shot. Out comes Haunter, who once again goes for Confuse Ray. We hit ourselves in Confusion and it goes for Mean Look. I use Mud Slap to lower accuracy, and Haunter uses Curse, so now we need to win the battle ASAP. We break through our confusion and hit Mud Slap, taking it out. Next up is Golbat, who hits a wing attack, but we use Rollout, which does around a 1/3. Haunter's Curse takes a 1/4 of our health, bringing us low, and Golbat goes for a wing attack, bringing us to 2 HP. Luckily, we get the KO with Rollout. Last is Kadabra. Any attack here, and we're done. Luckily, it goes for a Future Sight. We hit our last Rollout and get the win. I really didn't think that this battle would be so close, and now I'm a bit worried for the Elite Four. First is Psychic Trainer Will. He leads with a Xatu, which means we go for Rollout, nabbing us a 2-shot. Next is another Xatu, which we Oko with Rollout. Out comes Slowbro, and we miss our Rollout while it goes for Amnesia. We start to build our Rollouts again while it goes for Curse, and we miss our 2nd Rollout while it continues to just build its stats. We go for Rollout once again, and hit, while Slowbro goes for Psychics, which brings us low. Jinx is next, and we go for Rest while it tries to Lovely Kiss. It goes for Double Slap while we're asleep, which deals minimal damage, and once we wake up, we go for Rollout but miss. Jinx continues to Double Slap us and we hit a big Rollout for half its health. It finally hits with a Lovely Kiss, then Psychic while we're asleep. We wake up and KO with Rollout. Last is Exeggutor, who goes for Psychic, and our Rollout does minimal damage, but the power is building, meaning 2 more is enough to take it out and get the win. Second is Koga, the Poison Trainer. Toxic is worrisome, but we have Rest to recover. First up is Ariados, and I go straight for Rollout, dealing just over a 1/3. It uses Double Team, but we hit our 2nd rollout for a KO. Out comes Fortress and we hit Rollout for good damage. It uses Protect, stopping our rollout while it goes for Swift and Protect. We continue to rollout but eventually take it down. Koga sends out Muck and we miss our rollout while it goes for Minimize. We hit a Mud Slap and get Toxicked. We continue to go for Mud Slap as we can't lock ourselves into rollout or the battle's over. We hit a wrap, but Toxic is starting to take its toll, so we go for Rest and then rollout once we wake. Our 2nd rollout hits for big damage and we avoid a Toxic. 2 more rollouts is enough to take it down, and out comes Venomoth, who goes for Psychic. We get a 1-shot with Rollout. Last is Crobat, who goes for Double Team, but luckily we hit our Rollout for a 1-shot, ending the battle. Third is Fighting Trainer Bruno. His team's improved a little bit since Red and Blue, and fighting hits us for neutral damage. First up is Hitmontop, who goes for Dig, as we miss our Wrap. As it surfaces, we hit Wrap for residual damage. We go for Wrap, which misses, then roll out as it surfaces to preserve PP. This goes on for a while until Hitmontop gets low, allowing us to finish it with Wrap and roll out. Out comes Onyx, and we get flinched by Rock Slide, get hit by another, and then we hit a Mud Slap. 1 more Rock Slide brings us low, but we hit a Wrap and go for Rest to heal. Once we wake, we go for Wrap to whittle it down in combination with our rollout, but we get flinched. So we go for another Mud Slap and then Wrap once again, before finishing it with 3 rollouts. Next is Marchamp, who's very problematic. He misses a cross chop and our rollout does good damage. Another cross chop and we're brought very low, but our rollout's enough to take it out. Hitmonlee is next, who goes for Double Kick, but we heal with Rest. While asleep, I get hit with Swagger, so we're going to be doing increased damage once we break out of our confusion. We hit our first rollout for about a 1/4, and then our next to bring it low. It can't really hurt us. Our 3rd rollout is enough to take it out for a KO, and the last is Hitmonchan, and our rollout is built enough power for an easy 1-shot. Fourth is Karen, the Dark-type trainer. Gengar's problematic as it has Curse, which is game over if it goes for it, and we aren't strong enough to 1-shot it. The problem is, she leads with Umbreon, who will lower our accuracy and confuse us, and as if that isn't bad enough, Vileplume is normally next, which has Stun Spore. All of this combines for a very low chance of 1-shotting Gengar. I tried this fight for honestly about 2 hours with differing success, and it's time for a new strategy. I replace Mud Slap and Wrap with Earthquake and Headbutt, so hopefully we can do more damage to our team. At level 77, we try again, and it goes much better. We actually outspeed the Umbreon, meaning we can flinch it with Headbutt while dealing about 20% of its health. We get hit with a Sand attack, so our accuracy's down, but we flinch it and then go for Earthquake, and we don't quite get the KO. Umbreon goes for Confuse Ray, and we eat our held Bitter Berry for immediate cure. We go for Headbutt, but we miss and get confused again. We miss our next Headbutt, then hurt ourselves in confusion before we finally break through and hit a Rollout. Next is Vileplume, but we hit our 2nd rollout and avoid the Stun Spore. We break free of confusion but miss our rollout and then go for Earthquake, bringing it low. We miss our headbutt, but Vileplume hurts itself in confusion from Petal Dance, allowing it to hit a headbutt for the KO. Gengar is out next, and at this level it's a roll, but it paralyzes us with Lick. Luckily, we don't get fully paralyzed and hit the roll for the KO. Next out is Murkrow, and we go for rollout while it goes for Whirlwind. We miss our second rollout as it tries Whirlwind again. Rollout's enough to get the KO, and out comes her last Pokemon, Houndoom. Progress is in sight as we hit our rollout, bringing it low, and it goes for Roar. Karen then uses a max potion, and we hit our rollout, getting us the victory. It's finally time for Champion Lance. Out first is Gyarados, and we go for rollout, while it sets up a Rain Dance, and then hits us with a big Surf. But our second rollout is enough to KO. Next is Aerodactyl, who goes for Rock Slide. Luckily, we don't flinch and hit our rollout for a one-shot. Out comes Dragonite, who paralyzes us and tries for Blizzard. But we get our rest off. Now we use the same strategy as with Claire because we don't want to be frozen. When we wake up, we go for rollout, and Dragonite uses its final Blizzard, which doesn't freeze. We bring it low with rollout, and it hits us with a minimal Hyper Beam while we KO it with our next rollout. Time for the second Dragonite, who goes for Safeguard, and we hit rollout for a one-shot. Next is Charizard. It hits a Flamethrower, but rollout nabs us an easy one-shot. Lance's last Dragonite paralyzes us, but we still go for rollout while it goes for Thunder. We get paralyzed twice, then hit our rollouts for victory. Now we've become the champion of the Johto region, but the challenge isn't over yet. We need to travel to Kanto and try our luck against Red. After traveling to Kanto and breezing through the other gym leaders, we make it to Blue. He leads with a Pidgeot, but we outspeed and go for rollout while it tries Whirlwind. Our second rollout gets us the KO, and out comes Rhydon. Our rollouts don't do much, but it goes for Fury Attack and Rock Slide for a little damage. We build up enough power to get the KO with rollout. Next is Gyarados, who sets up Rain Dance, and we hit a rollout, but get hit for big damage by a Hydro Pump. Blue goes for a full restore, letting us build enough power to get the KO. Out comes Alakazam, who hits a Psychic, but we KO with rollout, and next is Exeggutor. Luckily, we get a one-shot with a critical. Last is Arcanine, and the rain is over, so we rest for safety while Arcanine tries Roar, then hits two Flamethrowers. We wake up and go for Earthquake for half its health. It then goes for Roar, then a full restore, allowing us the two attacks we need to get the victory. We only have one battle left, and it's the one that I've been dreading throughout the run, Red. Red has a full team of strong Pokemon, all ranging in the high 70s aside from Pikachu, which is over level 80. Let's give it a try. We go for Earthquake but get hit with Charm, so our attack is down. We do just less than half, meaning our second is not enough to take it out, meaning Red can use a full restore as we go for rollout, doing minimal damage. It slowly starts to build more until we eventually get the KO. Out comes Blastoise, who hits us with a critical Surf, taking us out. We try the battle again and get to Blastoise with much more health, but Surf is doing way too much for us to be able to withstand. 3 Surfs and we are done. I have an idea that I want to try before grinding. We head over to Celadon Game Corner and get enough coins for Double Team, which we teach over Headbutt, then go to the diner to get leftovers, and try this again. Pikachu goes much better, but still goes for Charm, so our attack is down 2 stages. Luckily, we're able to set up 6 Double Teams while taking minimal damage from Pikachu's Thunders and healing with our leftovers. We go for Earthquake, which does just over half, allowing for our next one to KO. Out comes Blastoise and we go for Rollout. It misses a Surf and then sets up a Rain Dance to boost the damage done by Surf. It misses a Whirlpool, then hits us for a crit, but our rollouts are doing big damage now. It hits a Surf for massive damage, but we're able to KO with our last rollout. Next is Snorlax, and we rest for safety while it goes for Amnesia and then Body Slam. We heal back to full with our leftovers. Once we go for rollout, it does small damage, but we are able to build and we don't get paralyzed from Body Slam, which eventually gets us the KO. Next is Venusaur, and we go for Earthquake for minimal damage as it sets up a Sunny Day. We start building our rollouts as it misses a Solar Beam, but connects with the next as we miss our rollout. It then hits another Solar Beam, taking us to half our health, and we hit a critical. We exchange attacks for a few turns before we build enough rollouts to get the KO. Next is Espeon, who hits a critical Swift, and we hit our rollout for a one-shot. Last is Red's famous Charizard, who hits a big Flamethrower. We go for a rollout doing about 20%, which is not as much as I thought it would. We get trapped in a Fire Spin, but we hit our rollout, bringing it low. Charizard then misses its Flamethrower, and we hit our final rollout, winning us the battle and the challenge. With that, we've successfully beaten Pokemon Crystal with only a Shuckle. This challenge honestly wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. The early game was a long grind, but once we got access to rollout, it really sped things up. I'd like to thank everyone for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please let me know by leaving a like and a comment below with what you would like me to try next.